The exposure.
Alright, I'm at the studio session for the track Killer, and I have producer Insane Macbeth with me right now. Can you tell me a little bit about the concept of the track?
The track is Insane Macbeth, featuring Rough Styles, Sub-Zero of Extremist, and Tony D of the Poisonous Poets, Killer. The idea for the track, really, it was a situation where, because I've been in the game so long, I've been in the game 20 years, I kind of kicked back for a while, and then I made a number of street singles in 2012. First one being The Strongest Ends with Reveal, which came out in March, and then the second one with Carl Hines, Can't, Couldn't, Could Never. I made the beat for Killer in September 2012, and I decided, man, you know what, I was feeling this beat so much that I want to do this song. As a producer, I normally come up with the titles, so I came up with the idea Killer, and the word killer really means like heavy, strong, you know, something with edge, you know. That's how the people I used to flex with in Brixton back in the day, you know, so it's not necessarily the connotation of murder per se, but I'm aware that it's such a strong word that I definitely wanted to use, you know, that word as a title for, you know, my third street single this year. Initially I reached out to Gatsby from E5th Riders in Hackney, and I reached out to an MC called MC Sly, an underground MC. He's from London but now lives in Sheffield. Afterwards I reached out to Tony D because of his relationship with Reveal in Poisonous Poets, and I have a relationship with Reveal, so I reached out to Tony D and he was like, you know, yeah, I'd love to be on it. And then Sub-Z's, how he got to be on the track, I kind of reached out to him as well, hoping to have 3 MCs, but then he accepted the invitation as well, so I had 4 MCs. So I was like, okay, I've got a flood now, you know, so like, yeah, it was all good. Sub-Z's as well, he went to my school, Tulsa Boys, in, you know, near Brixton, so, you know, even though he was a few years below me, we always had that connect anyway, you know. In relation to Rough Styles, there was a situation on the track where MC Sly was unable to perform on the track, in spite of the fact that he sent me a rough version of the 16 bars that he spat, and they were killer, but he had his reasons for pulling out. So I reached out to Rough Styles, and I've always had a relationship with Rough Styles from the you know, around 2006. We had a song back in the day called Unfuckwithable. So Rough Styles is, you know, he's always been accessible to me. I said to him, look, I'd like you to be on this song. This is the situation, and I really needed him for especially the first rock part of his verse, you know, because that, you know, as a producer, I have to think conceptually as to who's going to be right for a certain section of a track. So, you know, Rough, he fitted perfectly. You know, he was up for it. He's always been an ally of mine, and he killed it today. All 3 of them killed it, but Rough killed it. You know, he came with some killer cadences and some killer lines. You know, Sub-Z's, he came with the hook. You know, loved the Ebola line by Tony D. So they, you know, it was all killer. You know, and that's why I make hip hop, and I've always kind of wanted to make strong records, and that's it really. So that was the idea. And as I said, you know, the song Killer is kind of miscellaneous to everyone's vibe. You know, I told everyone, just do you, but as long as it's killer, as long as it's got edge, because that's what Insane Macbeth is all about as a producer and someone who releases, you know, records. And especially now where, you know, the whole vinyl model has kind of died down, I'm using this new model of doing street singles, which are just basically digital downloads. So like Killer is like perfect for where I'm at right now.
So you've been in the game 20 years, you've been away from a bit. Is this an Insane Macbeth comeback? What's coming next from you?
As I said before, because of the model of releasing music has changed, because as well as me being a producer, I'm also a proprietor of Insane Recordings and now IRD, which is Insane Recordings Digital. The model's changed, and to be honest with you, I'm not really sure what I'm doing myself. I'm finding my feet in the new music industry environment. So for me, making these street singles, you know, it works for me, it's feasible for me right now, because what I can do, I can still do cover artworks for that generation that was into, you know, that concept, you know, and basically I just put the street records on my SoundCloud, I promote them to various DJs, including yourself and Dynamic Gen, various kind of blog spots and websites, and as I said, I'm finding my feet myself. I don't really know what I'm doing. All I know is that if I'm gonna be in this hip hop thing, I'm gonna make strong records, and hopefully I'm succeeding, and hopefully there's people that are feeling what I'm doing, and you know, I'm really quite humble right now that, you know, people like Tony D, you know, still want to work with me, because, you know, Tony D is now, you know, so yeah, I'm humble, and hopefully I'll be releasing more music and, you know, finding my feet in this new environment.
The exposure.